And check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
It would help if I hit the unmute button, right? I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. It's crazy. What's going on for this August 1st, 2025? You guys are checking out an all-new edition of the RCWR show. I cannot believe August is already here. Just insane. I'm trying to enjoy this month of August while I can, because I know when it's all said and done, man, once September rolls around, September 2nd, everything changes for me. That's when I officially begin my 4-year college transfer from community college, and I've got a loaded schedule that's going to be going down. So I'm trying not to think about it too much right now. I'm trying to enjoy all this downtime between work and the quality time I'm able to have with my dogs, and catching up on stuff around the house, spending time with family, the wifey, trying to take it all in and just enjoy it one day at a time. But I cannot, can you guys believe, I mean, really stop and think about it. Only a couple of more months is basically going to be left for this calendar year, and then we are done. Just insane. Doing a special Friday night edition of the RCWR show. Felt like talking a little bit of SmackDown. I know also WWE earlier in the day, they did their SummerSlam kickoff, not to be confused with what's going to be going down on Saturday and Sunday, as we're going to be getting those. It's going to be a long weekend. We're going to be getting those 3-hour pre-shows, as you guys know, on both nights. Okay. But yeah, they actually did a kickoff earlier today. Look, don't worry if you did not watch it because of, I don't know, whatever you had going on with your schedule. I got the bullet points. You ain't miss out on nothing. Okay. But we're going to talk a little bit of that. We'll talk some SmackDown, little tricklets of some wrestling news. I'll definitely expand on my thoughts a little bit more about SummerSlam predictions. Yeah, in case you guys are not aware, I did do SummerSlam predictions. That is available on our YouTube channel at the RCWR show. We did them in 2 parts. I made sure I showed it the ultimate love, and I was like 3 minutes or less on those bad boys. But we can definitely expand on it more here on tonight's show. Hope you guys are ready for the weekend, man. Whatever you got planned, I hope you guys are going to be doing it, and you're going to be doing it well and all that good stuff. Hey, at the top, wrestling related, if you were like me and you were a little bit bummed out over the fact that you were not able to get a hold of those LGN new figures of John Cena, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Logan Paul, and the Immortal Hulk Hogan, whether it be for your personal collection or you were looking to flip and make some money on eBay, you will have another opportunity. Remember, we were just here on this show earlier in the week, and I had said to you guys, man, I was checking the Target website out, the direct URL for trying to pre-order those bad boys, and sadly, it was like one of those cases where you just had to keep checking it randomly, and it never, ever, at least by the time I hopped on the site, I was screwed. Like I know many of you guys were screwed as well. Well, right before the end of SmackDown tonight, they broke some really cool news that you'll want to know, and I'm going to share with you guys a very huge tip, which is this. They will be having it launch again due to popular demand, and they were quite taken back by the sales and all of that. They're going to be doing it again, but this time we now know when it's going to go live. So it's going to go live on the Target website at 6 p.m. Eastern, so 3 p.m. Pacific. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Now, I'm sorry to those that maybe live outside of the U.S., but we know that in regards to WWE, it's mainly North America. So that's why I'm issuing those times. If you're trying to figure out exactly when it's going to go live for your respected region, I'm sure you can utilize AI to help you out and all that good jazz. So I'm going to give you a bonus tip that's going to help you, at least guarantee you an opportunity to get an LGN figure of your choice. If you're not trying to get all of them, then again, maybe you're trying to get all of them. Here's a bonus tip for you. Actually, I'm going to give you two bonus tips. All right. Here's the first one. The night before, I highly recommend this. The night before, you want to make sure that you set up an account on Target. Have all your information loaded up, ready to go. Okay. Your payment method, all that. That way you don't put yourself in a bad position where when it comes to day of, you screw yourself over because, I got to fill out this field. I got to put in this information. And then by the time it's all said and done, boom, just like that, it's gone. No. So take time out before you go to bed, or depending on when you're seeing this, you now know the time. Just take that moment hours before and make sure you got all your login info ready to go. Okay. That's the very, very first piece of advice that I would give you. The second piece of advice I want to give you as well, actually 3 pieces of advice. The second piece of advice I want to give you is make sure that you bookmark that particular URL. Have that bad boy on your desktop, have that bad boy on your phone. And if you're like me and you're pushing nothing but iOS devices, guess what? When you pull up that Note app that's a default on your phone, man, it is so universal, isn't it? You can access it on your MacBook. You can access it on your iPhone. You can access it on your iPad, right? You'll be able to access that URL at any time. And that is sweet. But bookmark the website. The third piece of advice I want to offer to you guys, and this is the last one, but it is an important one. If you can help it, make sure that once you have all that information set up with Target, make sure that you have all your information saved in a way where you don't need to log back in again. All you need to do is just, hey, remember my credentials. Usually these days, when you're saving all your username and password stuff on that respected site, you get the option to, hey, want to save this so that you can just get in and out next time. Like you don't have to worry about logging in. It usually prompts you. So follow those prompts. And then that way, when that 6 p.m. launch opens up and you're like, all right, I can try this again. I can go for the John Cena, or I can go for the Logan Paul. I can go for the Hulk Hogan, or I can go for Dusty Rhodes. You'll be good to go. Good luck to you. And if those tips help you at all, and I hope they do, and you end up snagging a couple, circle back to your man, show me some love, and let me know. Hey, before we get into the talk of SmackDown, which, by the way, for those of you that saw SmackDown tonight, I want to know what you thought about tonight's show. Sound off. Hop on social media at youtube.com/the RCWR show. We got a interactive poll that's up right now. You ain't got YouTube? No problem, my pretty babies. Lee got you hooked up on the Twitter. go on over to at the RCWR show and pull it up that way. Yo, fam, you got to check this out. And I apologize to our audio only listeners, but if it makes you feel any better, you can just go to the timestamp of oh God, what is this now? 10 minutes and 10 seconds into the show. For you guys that's watching the webcast, be it live right now or you'll be watching this on demand. Do you see it in the background? Do you see it in the background? Let me just move the mic. Like I always tell you guys, there's always something new happening behind the scenes. There's always something new. So last go round, you guys saw the Superman popcorn bucket, which I think was by, I think Regal was it? I can't remember if it was Regal or if it was AMC, right? But now look at what we just got. This literally came today on my doorstep, and I am so fucking excited. It is the Galactus AMC popcorn bucket. It is truly a sight to behold. Man, when you guys see the unboxing video that I did for this, you guys are going to be like, yo, Lee. Like, dude, I'm stoked. Can I just real quick, and I'm just going to do this for good luck. I'm just going to light those eyes up. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that shit is beast. I originally was supposed to get this the day that the Fantastic Four movie had came out. That's when I was initially supposed to get it. And sadly, the person that I was buying it from, and I gave him my money like a month ago. A month ago. This dude hit me up at the last minute, at the very last minute, and homeboy canceled my order. I was like, and he didn't give me no warning, like nothing. I'm going, WTF, dude? How you go? I wasn't the only one. Apparently, there was like at least 10 other customers that he ghosted, and we all were fuming. But then, luckily, there was this cool cat that had heard what happened, and him and his girl, they pretty much was like, look, we actually, unlike that dude, we actually got the shit in stock. So as soon as you come up with that money, we gonna hook you up. And it was like, oh, and it's like on the up and up. Like this is like, yeah, we got connections. We know people that work in the theater directly, and hell, like in our family, blah blah blah, as a supervisor. Blah, blah. So like, we'll hook you up. Like, oh, okay, damn, bet. So that's how I was able to get that hookup, man. But yo, you want to see that one more time? I gotta light the eyes up one more time, just one more time. And I'm telling you, when you see the unboxing video that I do for this, oh my god, you guys are gonna love that. This is like my favorite. Like seriously, I'm geeking out over here. I gotta stop geeking out, but like I'm geeking out over here. And then my wife hooked me up with a Fantastic Four T-shirt. She was like, "Oh, I thought about you." I was like, "Huh?" She's like, "Yeah, I know you were getting your Galactus popcorn bucket today." She's like, "I was thinking about you though." She's like, "Here, check this out." I'm like, "What?" And it's a really cool Fantastic Four shirt. I'll probably premiere it while we're watching SummerSlam and when I get ready to do post show for you guys. So that's all that. All right, so you guys know about the SmackDown poll. Let's first do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's talk a little bit about what had went down with earlier tonight, where we had the SummerSlam kickoff. All right, the SummerSlam kickoff. Let's talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to go long-winded, folks. For those of you that want to hear to talk about SmackDown, we're definitely going to get into that. But I do want to do some housekeeping in regards to what all had went down with the SummerSlam kickoff event. Again, not really too much going on here. So here's your main highlights here. Basically, what I doubt, we get the video little recaps and all that for all the matches that's going to be going down and everything. On a interesting note, AJ Styles, he commented, it was very, very brief, but I think for you TNA wrestling fans, this will definitely put a little bit of a smile on your face. Michael Cole had asked AJ what it was like to returning recently to TNA wrestling. As remember, he returned, what was that, Slammiversary night, and we did do a post show covering Slammiversary. If you guys did not get an opportunity to check that out, make sure you show it some love. And AJ kept his comments very brief. He said it was awesome returning to the promotion. It was such a surreal experience. He didn't think it would ever happen. And he also touched upon the fact that WWE and TNA wrestling have one of the best partnerships, one of the best relationships right now. And he's really happy for both respective promotions that they were able to come together like this and everything. Now, for those of you that maybe were looking a little bit more for, have we seen the last of you, AJ, in TNA, or is there more on the horizon? We'll have to wait and see. There were no follow-up questions of that magnitude, none whatsoever. So again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying initially on that Slammiversary post show, and then once again night or two later on our Raw post show, which was, I think they're all still trying to figure everything out. You kind of got to give them a little bit of time to figure it all out, but eventually they will figure it out. Just got to give them a little bit of time, right? So I think that's where we're at right now. There was another question that AJ kind of tackled here that Michael Cole set up, which was, AJ, you're getting up there in age, and is it really starting to settle in with you now as far as any type of championship opportunity that you're able to get from this point going forward? Is it kind of dawning on you a little bit, that these opportunities, there's probably not that many of them left? Like, are you looking in the rearview mirror kind of going, I don't really have that much more time left? And it was kind of a weird pivot, I gotta say, because when you just look at the lining of questioning, it was a really, really weird pivot to which AJ had said, look, I honestly do not know, what the future holds, but as far as this weekend SummerSlam, look, this could be my very last SummerSlam. To which the fans were like, no, no, and you could hear them, they were in disbelief and all that. And so it really makes you wonder just what's going on here really, right? Behind the scenes here with AJ Styles. And we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get ready to go over the full card for SummerSlam and all that. Because even though we did do SummerSlam predictions already, I at least want to do you guys justice and go a little bit more in depth on some of the matches that's going to be playing. If not all the matches that's going to be going on the card, but there's definitely some I want to spend a couple of minutes on elaborating more. AJ is definitely one of those. All right, so that pretty much was that. Also, let's see, the Switch. Shout out to the Switch, which is the first TV show globally to be released under Creative Commons. Apparently, it features and stars, and shout out to her. I love her, been a fan of her work for many years. We just don't get enough of her on AEW programming, to be perfectly honest with you. Nyla Rose. She is being featured on this show. It's available for free viewing and sharing worldwide beginning right now. You'll be able to check it out on YouTube, Vimeo, Tubi, all over those respected outlets. By the way, how are my Samsung TV holders out there doing? I hope you guys are doing good, because if you were like me, sometime after 11 p.m. or right at about 11 p.m. on the East Coast, and it lasted a couple of hours, Samsung TVs were not working. I wish I was trolling you guys right now, and like, it's a really bad joke, but no, Samsung TVs, go check out social media. Samsung TVs were not working for several hours. So you were able to power them on, and the only thing that you were able to access is the Netflix app, and you were able to access the default Samsung TV channel. Right. So in my case, my Samsung channel is always set to some weird movie channel. And I was trying to figure out what it was. I just know it had John Travolta in it. He had long hair. Wasn't the one where he was an angel? I can't really remember. Vince Vaughn is in it. Maybe that'll help you guys out that know your movies. Vince Vaughn was in it. That's about the only thing I know. But yeah, it lasted like this for a couple of hours.
and people were freaking out. They thought that maybe they did something wrong as far as software update goes and all of that, but there was no definitive, here's the problem, this is why. It was a widespread issue though. And I had said to the wifey, you know what, it's times like these I'm really, and we, not for nothing, but we actually had some company come up the other night. It was actually our friends that came over for a visit from out of state. And so luckily they were chilling for the night. But while me and Tams, we're chilling in the bedroom and I'm getting ready to put on the news so we can kick back and relax, I'm finding, oh shit, like what's going on? Like it's not working. Luckily for our guests, they were okay because the way I set their rooms up, I gave them a Google, what is that thing called? Is it called Google Chromecast? You know exactly the thing I'm talking about. You plug it, HDMI thing, plug it to the back of the TV. I did that and they were fine. Their shit was not interrupted whatsoever. So yeah, nice to know that all of that eventually had got resolved. Other SummerSlam highlights. Let's see. Just trying to look here. Bronson Reed gloating over the fact that he jacked Roman Reigns sneakers, which, by the way, we got to show that some love. That was like one of the funniest fucking joints of the whole night of Monday Night Raw this week. I love that to no end. That was hilarious. Also, we get the complete rivalry between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, setting up the match going down for this weekend. Other than that, that pretty much was really it. Besides Alexa Bliss speaking about her goals now that she's back in the WWE. That really was it, though. I mean, that pretty much was the main meat and potatoes. All right, let's talk about SmackDown. So we'll talk SmackDown. We'll also talk a little bit of wrestling news, little trinkets, including Vince McMahon getting into a car accident. Also, we now know what was the cause of death for the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, as Linda Hogan, his ex-wife, commented on his passing. I think many of you guys may be a little confused at her statement that she put out there, but we'll definitely dissect that. A lot of stuff that we'll be able to get into. So you picked a great bonus night to tune in, as I will be live with you guys for the next several nights, going all the way through the SummerSlam, or correction, the Raw after SummerSlam. Let's talk some SmackDown, man. All right, so kicking things off hot and heavy, how I like it. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Nice mixed reaction for John Cena. Damn near getting booed out of the building, but you can definitely hear the cheers. Cody Rhodes coming in there afterwards. Great ovation for Cody. And then afterwards, John Cena proceeds to tell Cody Rhodes, yo, wasn't a fan of what you had did last week, dog. Did not like the fact that you beat my ass. You took a pin to the hand, my hand, and forced this document here for this match. Like, I wasn't a fan of that whatsoever, yet at the same time, you lit a fire under my ass that hasn't been lit in quite a long time. To Cena's point, he brought up the fact that, yo, I acknowledge that you, Cody, and the rest of the fans, y'all have tried telling me for many months now to, like, get out of my own head, like, whatever is going on with me, like, cut the bullshit already, and let's get back to reality. Let's get back to basics. And to that, John Cena apologized and proceeded to tell Cody and everybody else that he is over his own bullshit and that the real John Cena is back. Furthermore, now you're hearing all this, you're going, there's got to be a ruse. This dude has, like, got to be getting ready to kick Cody Rhodes in the nads or something. Like, you just can't believe what's going on here. But Cody is saying, look, I acted the way that I acted. I've been saying what I've been saying in regards to taking this championship home with me. I want to take it home with me. I want to retire with this belt because it's the only way that I know for sure that you all won't forget me. And I mean, he had the crowd in the palm of his hands as he was cutting his promo, especially when he got to that part. When he got to that gut wrenching part, it was like, oh, I mean, that's all you needed was that little track. Oh, I think we're going to add that going forward to the mixer and everything. And at that moment, when he said that, the crowd was all like, it was kind of like one of those, dude, are you serious? Like, how can we forget you? Like, you're John fucking Cena. Like, no, dude. So he had him right there in the palm of his hand. And like in that instant, we just watched John Cena flip all these months. And we just watched John Cena flip back to the real John Cena. So now the question becomes like, okay, is this the real John Cena? Is he truly back, or is this some type of a ruse, or is it possible? I did not mention this during my predictions, but is it possible? Is it possible that we could be looking at a double turn? Is it possible? I know some people were toying around with that idea, and a lot of people were under the impression that maybe that double turn wasn't going to be happening until SummerSlam. But now that we've seen John Cena basically go face here tonight, what exactly does that mean going into SummerSlam? Is it going to be a straight up babyface versus babyface match? Or is it possible we're going to be seeing Cody Rhodes' turn? There's already been seeds planted that, at least by Cody, he's been more and more comfortable with these interviews, mentioning the fact that, yo, XYZ, he's toying with it. So is it possible that we could be getting a heel Cody Rhodes debuting at SummerSlam? It really makes you wonder. We'll talk more. Put that in the back of your head for now. We'll talk more about it as we get ready to preview and go over predictions for SummerSlam. But yeah, I'm just like, as far as what's going on with that one. So Cody Rhodes, no promo, no retort. Cody Rhodes just pretty much hearing all of that. And it was almost like, you know what you deserve after cutting a promo like that? You deserve a nice cold one, here. I mean, seriously, I was literally ready for him to just go, Wheatley is so good, I drink it neatly. When you seen the error of your ways and you seen the light, no reason to fight. Wheatley so good, I drink it neatly. I mean, I literally was ready for Cody to just, I mean, seriously, man. Hilarious joint, but that pretty much was the end of those guys. So it definitely, at least in my mind, puts an interesting twist on their main event match to close out night 2 of SummerSlam. That's all I got to say to you guys. Meanwhile, we saw some footage for earlier in the day where Jelly Roll gets attacked by Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton was nowhere to be seen, nowhere in sight. I guess this was a case where Jelly Roll was just kind of minding his own business. He was trying to work out or whatever. And Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, they kind of had a little thing, a little bit of trash talking going on. Boom, gets jumped a little bit, a little ruffled up, all that stuff. All 4 of those guys actually closed out tonight's SmackDown. I was not expecting that. I thought for sure we were going to see Cena, Cody close out the show, but no, it was actually all 4 of those guys closing it out. And you know what? Based on what I've been seeing of, wait a minute. Man, y'all would light me on fire if I did not mention this. Can we just go back to Cody Rhodes and John Cena? The greatest line in the night, in that whole promo exchange from Cody and Cena. Cena telling Cody, the only platinum rapper that's going to be showing up to kick your ass is me. That got a nice pop from the crowd. Of course, a nice little diss there to one Travis Scott, who, as we all know, if we were to believe in the reports, and I'm sure that there's going to be somebody asking at the SummerSlam conference, hey, Travis Scott, can you officially comment? I'm sure they're probably going to try to get Triple H, Paul Levesque to issue a comment, but it would appear that Travis Scott, WWE, they had a fallout. As far as WWE is concerned, the guy just wasn't getting it at the level and speed that they were hoping he would get it. And those type of things happen. But, for it to be a situation where normally when WWE's in a position, particularly with a celebrity, and they go, oof, that didn't quite go the way we thought it was going to go. Normally, they do a really good job in just sweeping things under the rug. And it's one of those, hey, look, out of sight, out of mind. Let's just keep things moving along. That's normally how WWE tends to operate. But the fact that this is floating out there and it's continuing to grow, right? Without really being addressed. It really makes you wonder how much of this has some serious weight to it. Now, looping that back to Jelly Roll and all of them, and the point that I was going to make about the fact that Jelly Roll, Logan Paul, McIntyre, Orton closed out tonight's show. I got no problem with it. If you're like me, you've been checking out what Jelly Roll has been doing these past several weeks leading up to SummerSlam weekend. And you know what? Jelly Roll has my utmost respect. Sincerely. I remember when the news was first announced and it seemed like Jelly Roll was going to get involved. I'm going, damn, I'm seeing this guy everywhere. What the hell? But I'm going, well, he kind of got some decent chops. I guess I can kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not expecting him to be a Bad Bunny, but I'm going, I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. As I always like to say, you show me a person that is taking one step forward and making some type of an effort to better themselves as an individual, and I will show you a person in me that goes, okay, you know what? I'm willing to give them a shot. Let's see what they can do. And to Jelly Roll's credit, he's been in the gym these past couple of months. He's been losing all the weight, and it shows. I mean, you obviously see it, first things first, in his face and in his neck. And then the third thing you notice is in his gut area. The guy has gotten much smaller. So the fact that he has, and then we later learned in a more recent interview that he's pretty much been working with WWE, working at their performance center and all that for these past couple of months, I believe, about 3 months, if not more. You're going, okay, this guy's definitely really dedicated to this. That's what's up. And you would just like to believe that with two OG veterans in Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, if they had any type of issue whatsoever, and I don't know about, they definitely would have been very vocal. I would like to believe that not just the wrestling community, but mainly those really connected there with their respective wrestling news sources, like a Fightful PW Insider, would have doubled down and be like, well, word is Orton is kind of pushing back. McIntyre's pushing back. They don't quite feel Jelly Roll is exactly where he needs to be. They kind of want to pivot from this tag match and maybe kind of go in a different direction, possibly a handicap match. And the fact that we've never heard any of that type of chatter, that definitely says to me that they feel quite comfortable with what they're seeing of Jelly Roll. And I would also like to believe that with Logan Paul, one of the greatest, besides Bad Bunny, one of the greatest celebrity transitioning successfully to a WWE superstar, I would like to believe that Logan Paul has probably given Jelly Roll some serious pep talk and all of that. And it's been showing these past several weeks. I really like the way that Jelly Roll has been handling himself, right down to the fact of in the interview, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, he pretty much was asked about wrestling being fake and all that other stuff. And he was like, look, as far as the predeterminations and all that go, okay, yeah, sure, but the training that is involved, bouncing off the ropes, working those ropes and all that, like the injuries, you can't fake that. And he talked about how on one of the first days that he trained, he actually dislocated a finger. So I really like how he's been handling himself in interviews. I really like how he's been taking this training seriously. Like I said earlier in the week, I really, really feel that we're going to be quite taken back. It's not going to be Bad Bunny level, but I definitely feel we're going to be quite taken back by Jelly Roll's performance. And we're all going to be walking out of it going, yo, got to give Jelly Roll a lot of props. This dude really went in there and he fucking showed up. But SmackDown pretty much ended with Logan Paul, McIntyre talking hot trash before Randy Orton and Jelly Roll got in there. Jelly Roll, Randy Orton making work of the security detail despite the pleas from Nick Aldis. Nick trying to have all that be saved for SummerSlam weekend. Love seeing Randy Orton RKO the hell out of a couple of officials. Jelly Roll choke slamming the last security staff detail, pretty much ending SmackDown that way. Nice little way to go out. So, it was pretty decent. Pretty decent. It's interesting. Jelly Roll is kind of reminding me a lot of a much younger Abyss, the way he's kind of moving and all of that, even certain mannerisms and all that. And maybe that's why I'm kind of finding myself to be in a position where I don't quite mind seeing what happens here with Jelly Roll. Because he's giving me Abyss vibes. I don't know if he's kind of giving you those vibes as well. And when I say Abyss vibes, I'm not expecting him to do insane, stupid shit. Not at that level that Abyss was, but I think you kind of get where, if you kind of really read in between the lines, I think you kind of get what I'm saying in regards to him. But good stuff right there. In-ring action we go. Giulia retaining her, what championship is that she's pushing right now? I think that is the Women's United States Championship. I think that is. But she retained that championship over Zelina Vega. Was a pretty good. Was a pretty good match. That actually was our first opener for tonight's SmackDown, which the first 15 to 20 minutes was commercial free, or rather limited commercial interruptions. Nice way that they had got things off to a really good start. Yeah, the women's U.S. title, Giulia retaining over Zelina Vega. Remember, Giulia is now being paired up with Kiana James. Kiana James, fresh off of her injury, she was gone for a hot minute. Really glad that we are seeing her back into the mix again. I missed her tremendously. Lord have mercy, that woman got some nice legs. Oh my God. You know who Kiana James reminds me of, by the way? She's got like this nice crossbreed going on of Olivia Munn. Hopefully I say that name and that doesn't go over you guys' head. If it does, Google her. But she's got this nice crossbreed between Olivia Munn meets a little bit of Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company. I don't know if it's maybe just the hair that's going on or what. I know I like outdated myself with that one. I think real OGs is going to know what I'm talking about on that one there. Nice that these girls had got some decent time. I enjoyed seeing Zelina Vega fighting from somewhat of an underdog perspective, because it really was a 2-on-1 handicap when you really stop and think about it here. Kiana James being added to the mix, though, helping flush out more Giulia. You can't go wrong with that. But great stuff from both women right here. Meanwhile, we got a bonus treat, further expanding the relationship between AAA and WWE. We got ourselves a AAA match, and not just any AAA match. We got ourselves a AAA tag team title open challenge match as Los Garza, Angel, and Berto defended the titles against Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown. Los Garza retaining in about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Some rough spots was going on all throughout this match. Um, I honestly felt like it was starting to become a cluster. You know what? Towards the end, nice little reaction, particularly for Mr. Iguana. I know that WWE, if we are to believe the reports that's been put out there, that WWE sees some serious money marketing opportunities with this guy, merchandise, the whole 9 yards. He got a decent reaction from the crowd tonight. I'll definitely give him that. Got a decent reaction from the crowd. But this match, like it was a filler. I would not blame anybody if they literally looked at this and was like, okay, I don't care about these guys over here. I don't care about this tag team titles, whatever, like what promotion. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go get a refill at the concession. I'm going to go see if I can find some merch. I wouldn't blame it if a lot of people had tuned out on that one. Me personally, I love getting matches from all types of promotions. I'm all about supporting, but like as far as the quality goes, it was off, way off. Nice rebound in the next match, however, which was Aleister Black taking on Damian Priest. Shh. Oh man, this right here, man. Now this was the money. I definitely love this one. I love the fact that towards the end of the match, Damian Priest basically won via disqualification because the action had spilled outside of the ring, where Black and Damian were fighting over by the announcer's table. To which Priest he took apart the table, but then Black just ends up going, you know what, F this. I'm just gonna throw a chair at your ass. And I mean literally, that's what he literally threw a chair at Damian Priest. And the referee had no choice but to throw the match out and everything, because that was basically your DQ finish and all that. And if I remember right, Black continued on with his assault even after the DQ. He grabs that chair, whacks Priest with it, another chair shot to the back repeatedly and everything. Yeah, he messed him up. He messed that boy up good. He messed my man Damian Priest up good. I enjoyed that. Look, what these two did tonight with the finish, nice taste of what these guys are eventually going to do down the line. They're just up in the ante more and more, as far as I'm concerned, with what they're doing here. So I love that things are just really starting to heat up between Damian and Alistair. And, not for nothing, but let's just talk about Damian Priest for a hot second here. We remember when he was feuding with Drew McIntyre, and in regards to Damian Priest, Damian is one of those type of big dudes that if you can have him square off against another big dude, one that knows how to move pretty damn good, you're gonna get a pretty damn good match when it's all said and done. And for Damian Priest, the list is very, very short when you home in on the quality of matches that he can have with a semi other big guys. So I mean, think about it: a Rusev, a Drew McIntyre, a Talla Tonga, who we got to put over in just a hot little bit. Definitely a Randy Orton, a Karrion Cross for sure, Aleister Black. Like the list, a Sheamus. The list, it's a very, very short list. You feel me? So the fact that him and Aleister, and you know what? I'm like starting to fall in love with Aleister Black all over again. I love the fact that WWE, it's almost like when Aleister Black first came back, very quickly the honeymoon period, it just faded out, and then WWE just kind of seemed like they were in this weird position where we're really not quite sure what to do with this guy just yet. We've got all this other stuff that's going on over here. Maybe we can first try to figure out how we can work these and then eventually somehow fit him into this universe. That's how it almost kind of seemed. But I'm glad that whatever was going on with them trying to figure out Aleister Black's placement, I'm just glad we are so removed from that tired ass Aleister Black being down in the basement somewhere. I want you to fight me, and it's like every week. Remember those vignettes? Every week he's down in a cellar or whatever, and he's looking for a fight, and it's like, well, dude, like nobody's gonna fight you if you're, I mean, not for nothing. It's not like you're taking an Apple AirTag, and you're pretty much putting your location up on the map somewhere, and come on by, right? With the exception of only one time that I can recall, and sadly, I don't remember the opponent. You guys that have a better, sharper memory than me, you'll remember. But after weeks of him being in the cellar, go and fight me, somebody actually cold clocked his ass. And the next thing you know, boom, he had his fight. But like other than that, nobody was coming up to this dude. Nobody was coming up to this dude week after week. We were just talking about big men. Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, taking on Talla Tonga. This was his SmackDown in-ring debut match. Look, I know the crowd was a bit disinterested in this one. Really, really weird, wasn't it? This was a weird one. I gotta say, I'm looking at Jim Uso and I'm going, man, Big Jim frustrates me. It really, really does. I see what's happening with Jey Uso, and I'm happy for Jey Uso. But I'm looking at Jim, and it's so interesting because I can make you a very valid argument and go, look, Jim Uso, as far as the mic savviness and all that go, he may not be a wordsmith on the mic, but he is better on the microphone than Jay is. Yet Jay connects better with the crowd. Sometimes, and I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but sometimes I just go, how would it have been if it was Jim doing the whole yeet gimmick and not Jay? Would the gimmick be as successful, or would it be even better, or would it be about the same, or would it be a tier level down? Now, if you're asking me straight up, like, what do I think? I think that's a very interesting one. I think it would be a tier level down, but a tier level up at the same time. And I don't think I need to be long-winded and go in depth about that. If you need me to go in depth about that more, just sound off. I'll be happy to circle back to it. But that's kind of where I am. It's almost kind of like a yin-yang type of thing. But I'm looking at Jim Uso these days, and it's just, I'm shaking my head going, I'm not feeling this. Like, I'm really not. I'm really not feeling this. He almost kind of feels like a afterthought, and I don't like feeling that way about Jim Uso. I know there's a lot of you Uso fans that don't like feeling that way about him as well. It's very nerve-wracking. I mean, we got, not for nothing, but we got Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. They're in a tag match this weekend, and they're going to be taking on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. But meanwhile, when it comes to Jim Uso, like last week checked, and we'll do an update for the SummerSlam card later, he's not doing anything at SummerSlam. Which, if you remember when I was going over SummerSlam predictions, I said to you guys in regards to that steel cage match for the, what is that? Is it the United States Championship that Solo Sikoa is pushing right now? I said something along the lines of, hey, expect there to be some interference, and most likely Jim Uso is probably going to get involved in there. So, you got to have that numbers game kind of somehow. And not for nothing, talk a little bit more about this Talla Tonga and Jim Uso match. I loved how Talla moved. I thought Talla did really, really well, selling the whole big man effect and everything. What I did not enjoy was post match seeing Tama Tonga, JC Matero, they're running down Solo. He wants the cage lowered so they could pretty much isolate Jim and beat his ass down. Then you got Jacob Fatu. He comes in there for the save. Solo and Tala, they escape in time, but the other guys, they're getting their asses handed to them. I wasn't really a fan of seeing Talla Tonga just stand there, just watching this happen with his brothers. I really wish we could have seen Tala try to force his way, try to power his way to that ring and show that, I don't care who it is that's in there. I'm not scared of no man, be it one, two, or three. Like, I'll take y'all asses down and at least have Solo physically restrain him and say, this ain't the time or the place, baby. Like, we got him. We got his ass. SummerSlam weekend. SummerSlam weekend. We got his ass. I wish we could have seen that. I just, you feel where I'm coming from? Go back if you haven't watched it yet. Just go back, watch that match. And just look at everything that had played out afterwards. And you're literally going to be saying to yourself, okay, you just tried to sell me on this big guy. Not saying this guy's got to be like the big red monster Kane, but like, come on, man. Can we at least show some type of physical restraint and all that's going on? I don't know. Overall, though, this episode, it definitely had its respected ups and downs. I definitely found myself scrolling on the phone or on the tablet trying to see if I could find me some really cool deals on Amazon and eBay for I'm getting into the Hero Clicks. I don't know if you guys have ever played it. It's a tabletop game. It's been out for years, to the point, and to my surprise, WWE, they did try partnering up with Hero Clicks many years ago. They had a line that was out, which included a ring, apparently, for a map or whatnot. But they had a Ric Flair Hero Clicks, a John Cena Hero Clicks. Who else did they have? Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kane, I believe, The Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior. And they were hoping that monetary wise, that first season of a WWE Hero Clicks release was going to be so popular, they were going to come right back and it would just keep going. But yeah, it didn't do that well, unfortunately. So if you were the few, the proud, the only to have collected that, you got you some really nice collector items that you got on your hands there. But yeah, this show, it had its ups and downs. Cena going back to good for that final stretch of his run. I definitely hear a lot of my colleagues in the podcasting world. I do share in their same sentiments, which is, we got to do something with John Cena here, because when it's all said and done, we're like literally at the end of his tour, of his retirement tour. And a lot of people were going, he should flip it back. Like, now more than ever, he needs to flip back before it's too late. Let him go out as a baby face. I don't know, guys. I kind of wanted him, and I still want him to end this stretch as a bad guy. Something about the execution of this just feels off, and I'm hoping it's more so of a ploy. But the closing segment between Jelly Roll and all those guys, that wasn't a strong segment. I think it should have been flipped. I think, honestly, you should have opened things up with Jelly Roll, Orton, McIntyre, Paul, and close out with Cena, Cody. That should have been the carrot you dangle over people's head and all of that. Average go home edition. I think the Raw show was better. The Raw SummerSlam go home show, I think that was a much better execution than what we got here with SmackDown. It's definitely nights like these where you go, thank God SmackDown was only 2 hours. Because just imagine if that 3 hour effect was still at play. Then you're kind of going, oh my God, there's another hour? Then by default, you're going, yeah, not only are we going to get more matches, but we're definitely going to be getting more. Yeah. Oh, on a good note, you're going, well, at least we know for sure we'll get Cena and Rhodes at the end. But yeah, I digress. All right, so let's see how you guys have voted via Twitter at the RCWR show. By the way, shout out to my fellow DC, Maryland, Virginia residents. Oh, happy day! We got some great news. Hail to the Commanders. So the DC Council Board, they put in a vote today. I didn't forget. I'm looking up the polling results, but as I'm doing that, I'm just knocking out two birds with one stone here. Our DC Council Board, they voted today. It was a 9-3 vote that basically sees the Commanders officially coming back to DC. If this is news to you, you didn't hear it for the first time, just some bullet points I want to give you without being long and drawn out and everything. Basically, $3.7 billion. That's the deal to build the stadium at the old RFK Stadium. Now, DC is going to have to cough up $1 billion, while Commanders owner Josh Allen and the rest of the Commanders organization, they'll pay for the rest. This bill also will include 6,000 housing units, so it's going to bring new housing to the district, which is fantastic. Out of that 6,000, at least close to 2,000 of those units is going to be affordable housing. So that is great. This deal also promises to bring retail, commercial space, and parks. I would also hope that as part of that, it's also going to help put in more community shelters, youth centers, because Lord knows, particularly in the district, a lot of crime is always happening. And a lot of the victims that end up being casualties in our district, unfortunately, is a lot of youths. So if we can get it to a situation where we can get the youths to put the guns down and really focus more on some good after school programs, or have some really cool programs that's in place, particularly during the weekends, during off peak hours, give them an alternative. That would be great. This deal is supposed to generate about 14,000 jobs, 14,000 new jobs. And a deal was brokered between DC and about 51 union laborers. So you got like about 51 union laborers that's like, okay, we're on board. Now, there's going to be one more vote that's going to happen in September, but like, just to make sure everything's on the up and up, like it's all good. There's no reason why one would even think like, okay, could something weird happen where no. Like, everything is good to the point, because of how the council voted today, they're going to be able to start doing what they need to do as far as construction budget proposal, and they can now initiate. They can get the moving already. There's no reason why there would be any hesitation and all that, okay, we don't think we really, no, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. All right, let's see how you guys have voted here. Shout out to you guys that have voted via Twitter at the RCWR show. I'm seeing 17% of you voted thumbs down for tonight's SmackDown. Meanwhile, 83% of you voted thumbs up. Appreciate you guys. Meanwhile, let's see what's going on with you guys over on YouTube. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the post section and vote that way. See what we got going on here. Early voting coming in. I'm seeing thumbs down is the majority there. Gonna be curious to see if going into night one of SmackDown, night one of SummerSlam, if that's going to pick up a little bit more. Appreciate those that had cast their vote though. All right, so in some other news that we can get into, did you guys hear about the Vince McMahon automobile accident? First off, speedy recovery and everything. But yeah, according to TMZ, shout out to them, Looks like Vince McMahon was involved in a car accident that was described as bad, as apparently his 2024 Bentley was mangled. No serious injuries reported. Said the accident occurred early Thursday morning, hours before the news of the Hulkster and his passing broke. Apparently, Vince McMahon's 2004 Bentley was heading north on Route 15 in Westport, Connecticut, when it struck a 2023 BMW 430 and collided with a wooden beam guardrail. That is like the worst kind of accident. I haven't seen it with my own two eyes, a car hitting a guardrail like that, but I have come up on a vehicle or two in my time of traveling behind the wheel after the fact. Like I come up on the view and it's like, holy, I remember like about 4 months ago, I came up on this car that I could tell clear as day had hit the guardrail because it somehow misinterpreted that turn and yeah, hit the guardrail. Oof. Oof. And the guy was in one piece. No blood, no bumps, no bruises, nothing. I'm like, wow. Anyway, the crash reportedly scattered debris across the highway, which was then hit by a third vehicle, a southbound Ford Fusion. The impact was strong enough to deploy airbags in both the Bentley and the BMW. All three drivers were wearing seat belts. Well, thank God. And each vehicle had to be towed from the scene. Ever a reason why you need to be wearing your seat belts? Now you know. McMahon received a misdemeanor summons for reckless driving and following too closely, leading to an accident. He's scheduled to appear in court in late August. So, oof, that is a rough one, man. That is a rough one. Because you just imagine it probably would be a different story if none of these people were wearing seatbelts. I'm not saying they would be knocking on heaven's door, but it would definitely be a much scarier situation. That's why you always got to make sure you're wearing those seatbelts, man. It's better to be safe than sorry. And we alluded to the fact that this was hours before Hogan's passing. I did tease this earlier. Linda Hogan, she did issue a very brief statement on the passing of Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. I want to read that to you now, and I think this may have some new meaning in regards to this video, because I know we shared her video where the Hulkster and his new wife Sky, they were basically making fun of her, and she had all this, she was crying and mascara was running down her face. We shared it on our Facebook page, and so many people were laughing at her and going, what the hell is that crap on her face? Looks like a big old Chip Ahoy, cookie, what the hell is that on her face, and all that other crap. And I want to read this to you. And I quote, "I had no idea he would pass away this soon. We all really thought he would make a comeback. Big surprise. We are all devastated. It's hitting me so hard. I loved Hulkster more than he loved me. It hurt when he cheated, but he was so famous. I sort of understood, but it was crushing. It hurt." And now see, I don't know what she means right here. She's got a I and then B and then a sad emoji face with a teardrop. I guess she was trying to say, I never got over him. Maybe that's what she was trying to say. I never got over him or started a real relationship with anyone. I missed him. I've been weeping all day. The finality, it's just shocking. We spent every minute together for so many years. I've known him since he was 28 years old. I was 22. I still love him. Even though I never spoke or saw him, Nick did. And Nick would tell me things and vice versa. Just news about life. I still felt, although broken, we still were a family. It's so hard to know he's just gone. I try to stay strong for Nick, but I'm melting down now. It's very sad. I love you, Hulkster. You were my man, the only man for me. R.I.P. And I think anybody that, really paid very close attention to that video that had featured Linda Hogan really could come away. And this post shouldn't have sealed the deal, but I would imagine now after the fact it probably has for a lot of people. But just when that video had initially surfaced, I would imagine that a lot of people were maybe looking at that going, man, this woman really is hurting right here. It comes off like she literally is still hurting over the passing. I'm sorry, she's literally hurting here over the fact that she is no longer with the Hulkster. Like she still cares for this guy. You know, that's how it really came off. I'm trying to see if I can find that video because I know there was like a couple of people that had comment on it recently. Oh, and I was able to find it off the break. Oh, I am so lucky. I'm so lucky. Yeah, see, when you look at what I posted on Facebook, here's what I said initially. And you know when somebody's edited something because you can go back and you can see, oh, they edited it, right? But like, no, this post is still as it stands right now. I titled it new. Hulk Hogan posted a video of himself and his wife eating popcorn, presumably reacting to drama involving his ex wife and daughter. Linda, 65, the ex-wife of Hogan, posted a video accusing Hulk Hogan of being a complete liar and a sex addict. She also claimed Hogan left their family in the worst mess. Linda said their daughter Brooke has cut both parents out of her life. And then when you go in and you read the comments, now shout out to those that, they kept it 100. They were looking at some of the comments that was in there and they were like, man, so childish. While a bunch of other people were just laughing their butts off and all this other shit. You will not find me reacting to any of the comments except for the one about this is so childish. That's the only thing that I actually hit like. I didn't do no laugh emoji. I hit like because I thought it was on point. And when you come across somebody and you're fortunate enough to have such a really deep connection to them, such a meaningful relationship to them, there's some part of you that like legit, like you really care for them and all that. Even after you've broken up, there is still a significant part of you that cares about them deeply. Not to make it be about me, but one of the things that I've always had the advantage of when I talk about certain things here on the show over the years, I always have that personal connection that can help you guys better relate to like what's going on with some of these people. Because not for nothing, a lot of the people that check out our shows, they're a little bit on the younger side, definitely in the 18 to 30 something range, and they're still going through their respected relationships and all of that until they find that true definitive one they want to spend the rest of their life with. And I remember my late ex-wife, my first wife, rest in peace. I remember, yeah, we got married way too young. That was it in a nutshell. We got married way too young. We should have been dating other people and all of that, right? We had no business getting married when we did. We both got married when we were 23. I mean, that's young, man. And I remember after it was all said and done, we tried to make it work. We tried a couple of times and we just figured, you know what, we're better off as friends, but it was not an easy transition for either one of us. It was not. I know when I eventually had moved on to my relationship with Tammy, and at the time, me and Tammy, we were just seriously dating and all that, and I was still trying to balance having a healthy relationship with my ex-wife. Like it seemed like everything was on the up and up, but I'll never forget. I'll never forget. Her birthday had went past. It came and went. And keep in mind, at this point, I probably was dating Tams for maybe somewhere between 7, maybe 8 months at this point, and we actually were living together. Me and Tams, we actually were living together. And I just remember at that point, I had so much that was going on. I was in the process of trying to find a new gig. There's like a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. And I remember exactly 12:05 a.m. the next day, the day after my late ex-wife's birthday passed. She calls me. I go, "Hello? Like, everything okay, buddy? What's wrong?" And she was crying. I mean, she was bawling her eyes out, and she was like, "How dare you? You forget my birthday after everything that we've been through. How dare you forget my birthday?" And I mean, I had got such a tongue lashing. It was ridiculous. And I remember, I tried to call her back. She would not pick up. And it was like, whoa, I told Tams what happened. And Tams was like, okay, can I speak freely? And I was like, please. She goes, she is very, very still in love with you, even though she knows and you know that you both are better apart from one another. Seems like this friendship thing, she's taking it, she's not really able to adjust. It's like, so you got to do her the solid. You got to do you and her a solid. You got to be the one to really let this go. Like, you got to stop communications with her. And I'm like, oh, and I hated to do that, but in retrospect, Tams was right. So I immediately, well, actually, not right then and there. I think I just let it mull over, and I woke up the next day, and I sent my ex-wife a text message. I said, "I'm so sorry that I forgot your birthday. It was not intentional." I was like, "Look, not for nothing." I was like, "But you don't know half the stuff that's going on my end, just like I don't know half the stuff that's going on your end." I said, "But, I just want you to know I'm very sorry, and I will honor what you said. You said to not contact you anymore, like after this message, like," and I kept my word. I kept my word. And but I never stopped thinking about my ex. I never stopped wondering if she was doing okay, and if whatever new relationship that she was in, if the person that she was with, if they were treating her good and all that. I never stopped caring. And I think now, for more younger folks, when they look at that video with Linda Hogan crying and all that, and you see Hogan and Sky eating the popcorn, I think now it should really, really hit and resonate with people that, oh shit, this woman was still in love with the Hulkster. Yeah, we might have been making fun of her because of her mole and the makeup and how crappy she looked, but wow, this woman still, you don't act like that. There's acting, and then there's, oh well, no, this woman is still hurting. This woman still cares about this dude. That definitely was the case right there. Really, really makes you take a step back and look at that video with a fresh perspective, while also at the same time looking at the Hulkster going, did you really need to post that, dude? Speaking of the Hulkster, looks like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they have scrapped the Hulk Hogan project. Remember, it was rumored for years, at least the past 3 to 4 years, that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they were working on a Hulk Hogan movie. Now, this isn't the Chris Hemsworth joint. Not that one. Remember, that one ultimately got abandoned, and we talked about that a long time ago. No, this one was going to be focusing on Hogan versus Gawker. That's what this was going to be covering. And TMZ, they're reporting that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Now, optics wise, the timing looks bad, doesn't it? Because you would think that, oh, this must have to do with the fact of Hogan dying. No, the plan was always in the works for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to drop this project. The timing is it's just bad. In a nutshell, likely scenario of why this project was ultimately abandoned. It's really hard to make this kind of movie a reality when you don't have the primary subject involved, because Hogan refused to have anything to do with this project. He didn't even want to be consulted about this project. If anything, he was fighting these guys tooth and nail, right down to the point he teased taking some type of legal action against these guys if they even tried to get this made. So 9 times out of 10, I mean, when you really take a step back and you think about it, well, damn, how can I make this documentary? Damn, how can I make this movie if the source material itself I can't access because they're refusing to grant me an interview and all that? Like, I can't even get together the research material that I need so I can do principal writing. And like, okay, I guess I gotta, right? And then when you're being threatened with with a potential lawsuit, I think you can understand why ultimately Matt Damon and Ben Affleck just decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and go in a different direction. One last Hulk Hogan item. This is a big one. We now know the cause of death for Hulk Hogan. And as I was researching this, I really wanted to figure out a way to break this down without it being too wordy, because I am deep into the science, okay, as many of you guys know. But okay, so Hogan did in fact die from a heart attack, but he apparently was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Now, I'm going to break that down for you guys in a little bit. Shout out to the folks over there at the New York Post, as they were able to see the records from the Pinellas County Forensic Science Center, which showed that Hogan died from an acute, basically a heart attack. I'm not going to even try to pronounce because I'm going to butcher it. Basically, it's a heart attack. But Hogan was also diagnosed with a form of cancer, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, otherwise known as CLL. And as far as the details surrounding the cancer, like it's really unclear as far as like how advanced that was and all that. But I did do research, and I wanted to try to break this down in the most simplest way that I can, so I wouldn't lose a lot of you guys, because I feel that a lot of shows are going to just overlook this. It's pretty much just going to be reading the main meat and potatoes and basically, moving it along, not even trying to understand what exactly Hogan may have been dealing with. So check this out. So as far as chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. So, and these are my own notes. I literally wrote this down so you guys can understand it. So picture your blood like a smoothie, right? It's a smoothie, and it makes different ingredients, okay? You've got your red cells that basically carries oxygen, okay? And you have your platelets, which help stop bleeding. And then you've got your white blood cells, which fights infections. It's your body's defense team of all stars, basically, right? Now, just imagine that one type of white blood cell called a lymphocyte starts acting like it's on a power trip, okay? So in CLL, your body makes too many lymphocytes, but they're lazy, not good at fighting infections. They don't die when they should. So basically you're talking about like zombie cells, essentially, like that won't die. They crowd out the good cells in your blood and bone marrow. So now, what does that sound like to you? So now you're dealing with a weak immune system. You can't fight off stuff as good as you used to be able to. There's not enough space for healthy blood cells. And now you have a body that feels tired all the damn time, achy, or sick all the time. Now that chronic part, let's home in on that chronic part, because this loops back. So far, I think a lot of the stuff is definitely related to the Hulkster here, but I want to home in on one area specifically, which may have you guys kind of go, think Lee might be on to something here. So the chronic part means it's a slow moving cancer. It doesn't come on fast like some other leukemias. Here's the crazy part. People might not even know that they've got this. That's the crazy part. You could just be walking around and it could be several months, several years before you just go, well, damn, I really don't feel good. Like, what the hell's going on, right? Only then, like, by that point, it's probably gotten worse. Because some people can go years without being diagnosed. They can go years without other symptoms. Others might need treatment right away, obviously, if it gets worse. So, the common symptoms, though, feeling tired all the time, like you're dragging yourself out of bed, swollen glands, like in your neck or armpits. Think of what was going on with the Hulkster and what was going on with the neck and all that. Getting sick a lot, weight loss you didn't plan. Think about some of the recent pictures that was in circulation of the Hulkster right before he died. Night sweats, feeling full because your spleen is swollen. And as far as how it's diagnosed, docs might usually a routine blood test where docs basically go, whoa, there's too many lymphocytes that you got going on here. And then that might force them to go deeper by doing a bone marrow test, blood smear, genetic testing, things of that nature. So, in a nutshell, chronic lymphocytic leukemia is a slow growing blood cancer where your body makes too many lazy white blood cells that don't die, weaken your immune system. It weakens your immune system at the same time and crowd out the good blood cells. So there's no telling how advanced Hogan's CLL was, but now that I've given you guys a more comprehensive, hopefully I didn't lose a lot of you guys. I didn't go over a lot of you all's head because when I want to be, I can be a science nerd. And I knew when I was going to be talking about this, I had to jot this down in a way where it made a lot of sense to you guys. So hopefully you get the analogies there. One last piece of Hogan news, just one more. And this is the last one. For those of you interested, there is a new Hulk Hogan documentary that premiered yesterday on the life and career of the Hulkster. It premiered on Fox Nation. So check your respective local listings and see what you can find. Shout out to NXT. NXT this week for the July 29th edition did a little bit over 675,000 views. Demo rating remains the same. AEW Collision for July 31st, meanwhile, they did about 400,000 viewers. Remember, they moved to a special night there this past Thursday. So good for them because the previous Collision, that did about, if I'm not mistaken, 327,000 views. Of course, we're just mainly looking at what was happening there on TNT, right? We're not even thinking about what was going on with the numbers from Max and all that. Paul Walter Hauser, he has issued a challenge to QT Marshall. If you saw the new Fantastic Four movie, you know Paul Walter Hauser is Mole Man, right? Yeah, I mean he nailed that. He nailed that role pretty good. But apparently he issued a challenge to QT Marshall on the July 31st episode of ROH TV. That really should be no surprise to people because he's been dipping his head into wrestling on the independents for a couple of years now. It's awesome seeing this guy be able to continue to bounce out of these interesting worlds of entertainment, right? Like a lot of us remember him from Cobra Kai and just the great trajectory this man continues to be on career wise. It's like, yo, keep doing it. Like, love it. Some people might be like, oh, QT Marshall, like what the hell, man? But like, no, I welcome it. I freaking welcome it. I got no issue with it whatsoever. Other than that, I think we can now go on ahead and look at the card for SummerSlam now that we know everything is officially locked in. If there was ever a case for some last minute additions, like tonight's SmackDown was it, but it would appear we're good. So night one, August 2nd. Here's our following matches here. We got Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross. Remember, if Kross wins, Zayn has to say the words Kross was right. However, if Zayn wins, Kross must say I was wrong about Zayn. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso team up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Tag match. Judgment Days, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defend the women's tag titles against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Gunther, meanwhile, defends the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll team up to face Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. And in the possibly the main event, who knows? Tiffany Stratton defending the WWE Women's Championship against Jade Cargill. I'm looking at this night and I'm just thinking back to when I was offering preview and predictions for our YouTube short. I'm just wondering if there's anything I want to like circle back on and double down on and everything. I know a lot of people are expecting that Seth Rollins may pop up. I personally hope he does not. I really, really don't. And I know a lot of people are kind of looking at the idea of CM Punk. Nah, you just had him beat Goldberg. How does it make sense that he gets past CM Punk? How does that make any sense? It quite doesn't. I think the real story that you need to be telling here is remember what Seth Rollins said the moment that CM Punk came back to the WWE. This mother lover is back and he trying to get a world championship over my dead body. As long as there's air breathing in these lungs, CM Punk will never become a world heavyweight champion. So I think there's a full circle of storytelling that's going to continue on here that intensifies, amplifies this ongoing feud between Rollins and Punk. I'm hoping that this is actually the main event match and not Stratton versus Jay Cargill. Because if this ends up this being Gunther and Punk, I'm definitely looking at CM Punk becoming World Heavyweight Champion. But Rollins screws the celebration, takes him out, and that's pretty much it. Now, some of you guys may be saying, well, wait a minute, Lee, wait a minute here. What about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso? Is it possible that maybe they might interfere in this? Is it possible they might try to do a little something? It's possible, because then when you're looking at that heavyweight championship match, you definitely got to be saying to yourself, is it possible that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed could do a little something in there? I don't see them doing something just randomly, just out the clear blue. You feel where I'm coming from? I don't see that happening. I see something happening. I see something happening whether Gunther wins and he loses the championship, or CM Punk wins and loses the championship. I see Seth Rollins jumping out there and cashing in successfully either way. That's what I'm seeing going down. The other matches, there's nothing else I really want to sink my teeth into more. I think I made all the valid points that I made when I was offering preview and predictions. If anything, the Jade Cargill Tiffany Stratton match really stands out to me. Shout out to Kelton. Kelton was saying, I don't really know about night one there, Lee. I agree with most of your picks, but I'm not sure about Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. I feel as though Stratton is going to retain, although it would be nice if we could see Jade, but I'm not that convinced that Jade's going to get the job done. Me personally, I think WWE has reached their peak with Tiffany Stratton. They rode that train way too damn soon. And, it's interesting when you stop and you think about where things could have potentially went wrong there. Where did it start to decline a little bit with Tiffany Stratton? I think a lot of us would definitely and safely And it's very accurate. We would pinpoint, well, things started really going on a decline for Tiffany after her feud with Charlotte. That's when things really kind of started taking a decline, and she really hasn't quite lived up to, that was her peak, and she hasn't quite continued to maintain that level, if not surpass that, since that point in time. And that's great that she's got the Maybelline partnership there, or WWE, I should say. And speaking of partnerships, congrats to WWE for the partnership they got going on with Wingstop. Wingstop is now being recognized as a official sponsor for WWE and the UFC. So that is what's up. Although I know there was plenty of pissed off people that could not take advantage of the free chicken day on Wingstop, myself included. There was a lot of us that was fiending for some Wingstop, and them codes wasn't working, man. Wasn't liking that. Night 2 of SummerSlam, August 3rd. We got the Wyatt Six taking on Andrade and Ray Phoenix, taking on DIY, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. Six-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Tag Team titles. I still feel the way I do as far as the winner goes for that one. Forgive me if I'm just blowing past this. Again, you guys are more than welcome to check out the preview and predictions that we got up separately. It's like 3-minute or less shorts that's up on the YouTube channel. Dominic Mysterio taking on AJ Styles as Dominic defends the Intercontinental Championship. After what? Now, I will expand upon this one. After what AJ Styles had said there during the SummerSlam kickoff about it potentially this being his last SummerSlam, just kind of get this weird vibe that maybe, just maybe, AJ Styles, gets the job done there on the and becomes the new. He gets the job done. Oh, forgive me. Gets the job done and becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. I'm actually doubling down and hoping that after what I heard from AJ during that kickoff, he gets the job done. Meanwhile, steel cage match for the United States Championship. Solo Sikoa defends against Jacob Fatu. Big Jim Uso's going to get involved in that. The rest of the new bloodline. But I'm still seeing Solo come away with that. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. No disqualification, no count out. Last chance match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Remember, if Becky wins, Lynch cannot challenge for the championship again. So as long as Lynch is champion, I think that's still going to play out the way I felt it was going to play out initially. Yeah, I still stand behind what I said for predictions. Naomi defends the women's championship against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky in a triple threat. Still standing behind that one. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes Street Fight for the undisputed WWE Championship. That's the one I want to home in on. I think we are possibly looking at a flip here, man. I think we are looking here at a flip. And shout out to LaFisto. I was listening to LaFisto on this week's Soup, which was really good. She toyed with the idea of a double flip. And the more and more that I thought about it, I said, it could be possible, but the fan in me is going, I'm more intrigued to know what's going on with this vision of John Cena just causing a little bit of anarchy in the WWE. Hey, I'm going to win every single match on my way out. And then afterwards, I take this belt home with me. You guys are going to have to create a whole new championship. You ain't seeing this again. Part of me is going, I want to see that. I want to see how that looks and whether or not a situation could ever happen in the future. Most likely not, but see something that could happen in the future where John Cena goes, hey, you ain't really the champion because the last real world heavyweight champion is right here. And until you beat me, you ain't really the world heavyweight champion. Now, that also kind of goes into what John Cena was saying as far as, hey, I'm doing this final tour, and pretty much after this calendar year, like that's it. The next time you see me, I'm going to be in a suit. You ain't going to be seeing me wrestle no more. So it's kind of like, is it possible that maybe, or is John Cena gonna, right? Because the whole wrestling terminology. Hey, you're never really retired. Like, come on, you always got one more match in you. But with Cena's going, no, definitively, this is it. But what if maybe they could work out some type of a deal where, like, just let's squeeze out just one more match, right? We'll talk more about that later down the road. But looking at what's happening here with SummerSlam, more and more I was thinking about what Lufisto had said. The more and more I'm going, Lufisto, for those of you that don't know, veteran female wrestler. She's seen it all, done it all. I mean, she is one of the coolest fucking women that's out there. Always when I look at Lufisto, I go, how come she never worked in WWE? Like, it's just right there, silver platter, like, and for some reason, like, it just never happened. But, she said that there needed to be a double turn, and she felt like maybe we'd get Cena going back as a face and Cody goes heel. I kind of scoffed at that idea because I just felt, no, there's still some meat on them bones for a John Cena heel turn. Like, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface here yet. Like, what the hell? And then I'm thinking about what John Cena recently said in an interview. This went under a lot of people's radar, but John Cena has said recently that we are just getting started. Like, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. He's like, we're at the tail end of this and we're just starting to cook. So, I'm kind of keeping all of that in the back of my head going, well, shit, maybe we are going to get a double turn. Maybe we are going to get a double turn. What if Cody Rhodes has always sold his soul to The Rock? What if he always did? I mean, that'd be some hell of mind-bending storytelling, that you're going to have to tell in order to go back and, connect the dots and all of that shit. But I would imagine there's definitely been some breadcrumbs that's been left all over the place where you go, there was the sign right there, and there was that sign right there, and there was another one right there. The main event match is going to be very, very interesting. Speaking of John Cena, for those of you that play WWE Supercard, man, I know a lot of you guys have not been feeling the battle passes the past couple of months. It is expensive. Don't get me wrong. The battle passes are expensive here in the United States. And look, we really shouldn't even be complaining as United States residents, because some of our friends overseas, they're paying like about $50 or more for their battle passes. So we really shouldn't be complaining. But we're looking at about $30 for our battle passes, and I know they normally would do some crazy ass artwork that would either be a hit or a miss. A lot of misses for a lot of folks, but the battle pass for this month, it features John Cena, and it ain't no original artwork. They pretty much have taken his real scan design, so they went back to what they were normally doing with their battle passes, and now you can basically insert the professional photo images, swap them out and all that. They got a really good render of John Cena. It's basically him with the championship spun around his back, and he's got the towel up. You're basically looking at the back of him as he's got the towel up and everything. The last time is now. Really, really sweet ass design. And apparently there is a unique John Cena SummerSlam 25 equipment that's exclusively for him. Shit ton of charisma stats that's loaded on that bad boy. I'm trying to think what else. There's another cool render that you get of John Cena actually looking dead at the camera, holding the championship belt. Some sweet ass images. So if you guys, maybe you haven't played WWE Supercard in a couple of weeks, they got some pretty cool new game modes that's out too, right about now. So you want to maybe poke your head, see what's going on. I think you'll definitely like cosmetically some of the changes that they've made for the game and all that recently. Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. We're very happy to be teaming up with these guys for the next couple of months. Of course, I'm talking about the good folks over at IME Radio, your global soundtrack featuring the hottest indie artists and 90s to 2000s throwbacks mixed with today's top 40 hits. Think of it as a world tour for your ears, delivering crowd favorites and hidden gems from the US, Europe, and Canada. Tune in, vibe out, and discover your next favorite song. Check them out today, 24/7. IME radio station. That's right, you heard me. These guys go at it 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. IME radio station. Look them up online. IME radio station. Proud sponsor of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Happy to have them on board. As far as programming notes go, all right, SummerSlam night 1 and 2. Soon as those events are over, we are going to be live right here going over pay-per-view Fallout. So definitely tune in. We'll have the chats open, all that good stuff. Get you guys reactions. As always, I always look forward to that. It's like my favorite part. SummerSlam, man. I love SummerSlam. Y'all know this by now. If you're a longtime listener, one of the 4 major events that I look forward to each year as far as my wrestling goes. So I think we're going to be in for a lot of surprises. I think as far as the quality goes this year of the matches, yeah, man, we are looking at some really, really damn good promising stuff. I think there's definitely going to be some memorable things that's going to be happening from SummerSlam weekend where a lot of us are going to be going WTF, especially with that Cody Rhodes John Cena match alone. So, but that's our programming weekend. Of course, we'll be right here also Monday night after Raw goes off the air, dealing with the SummerSlam Fallout. So you picked a good week to tune in, man. You guys are basically kicking us off here tonight. You've just got your Friday appetizer. And then you got your Saturday and Sunday for your main entrees. And then we're here Monday night for the desserts. We got you for 4 consecutive nights, your hookup. So if you're new, welcome. If you ain't done so already, make sure you hit the subscribe, like, all that jazz. Helps out a great ton. Ooh, we just getting started. Meanwhile, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Get at me all throughout social media using those same keywords. And until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.